first time here, in today's video I am going to be doing a true or false quiz online, as you can see, courtesy of this website, Jetpunk. So we have a true or false quiz. There are 20 questions, I believe, within this quiz. So we're just going to have a run through the questions and see how many we can get right out of the 20 questions provided. So this is a general knowledge true or false quiz, and I think I'm going to set myself a target of, I want to get at least half right, so we're going to go for at least 10. That is the target for this quiz. So we'll get underway with question 1, and it is: chimpanzees have tails, true or false? I'm just trying to picture a chimpanzee. They certainly don't have a long tail, that's for sure, so I think the right answer is true. I think they have a small, stubbly sort of tail. In fact, I'm not sure at all. I'm getting confused now. I don't think they do have tails. I can sort of picture it now. I'm picturing the back of the chimpanzee. I don't think they have tails. I'm going to go with false. The movie The Wizard of Oz is based on a book. Well, I know The Wizard of Oz, the feature film, came out in the 1930s. But was there a book before that? I feel like there probably was a book. So I'm going to say true for question 2. And question 3, the word bacteria is plural. I think that might be true. I think the singular of the word bacteria is maybe bacterium or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but I think there is a singular word. And bacteria is the plural, so I'm going to say true for that question there. Number 4, we have a geography question. Canada is the world's largest country by area. And immediately I know that this answer is false. Canada is one of the biggest in the world. I think it might be second biggest. So it is a very, very clever question. But I think Russia is by far the biggest country in the world by area. So this answer is false. Question 5. Margaret Thatcher was leader of the Labour Party. Okay, so Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister of the UK, I think in the 80s, was it? And I think she was the first female Prime Minister. I don't know a lot about politics at all. I know her nickname was the Iron Lady, but I couldn't tell you what side she represented, the Labour Party. And then there are the Conservatives. That is sort of the extent of my political knowledge. So really it's a 50-50 choice here. And I'm going to say true. And we'll see if luck is on our side. Question 6. There are more trees than people on planet Earth. Okay, that is a tricky one, because if you think about it, all these sort of forests and areas, the massive, like the Amazon and places like that, and how densely populated they are. But in saying that, I find it hard to believe that there would be more trees than people. It's kind of a difficult one. There are a lot of deserts in the world as well. In terms of people on planet Earth, I'm not really undecided on this one. More trees than people. I'm going to go with true, but I'm really not confident on that. I feel like it might be false, but something's telling me to go for true, so I'm just going to go for it. Number 7. The Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris has flying buttresses. And I have no idea what a flying buttress is. I have heard of Notre Dame, and I'm really not sure which one to go for here. Flying buttresses, could that be some sort of animal or flower or something like that? I'm just going to go with true for that one. Question 8. Vampire bats are real. And immediately, I think that's true. I think there are such a thing as vampire bats. Obviously not like you see in the movies with bats, turning into human form and biting people. But I think there is a species of bat called the vampire bat, so we'll go for true. And question 9. The speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per hour. I don't know what the speed of light is, but it sounds very plausible that it could be true. But in saying that, I have said true for a lot of answers, so you have to sort of keep that in mind. Almost all of my answers have been true apart from 2 of them. So we have to sort of think about this strategically and see. I really don't want to change any of the answers though. So I'm going to say false for this, I think. It's false. Maybe it's 400 or 500,000 kilometers per hour. It could be any number. I'm really not sure. Kind of undecided on this. 300,000 does look familiar, so I'm going to change my mind and go for true. Lambda is a Greek letter. Well, I think I'm going to say false for this because I have said true a lot so far, and I have never heard of lambda as a Greek letter. I've heard of the really sort of obvious ones that most people have heard of, such as alpha, omega, beta, those sorts of letters, I think. But I've never heard of lambda, so I'm going to say false for question 10. And we move on to number 11, which is lobster is kosher. True or false? Well, I really have no idea on this one, so it's going to be a complete guess. Lobster is kosher. Well, I've heard of like kosher chicken, but I've never heard of kosher lobster. Could be completely wrong, but I'm going to say false. Question 12. There are polar bears living in Antarctica. Okay, so this is a tricky one because I think we all know that polar bears and penguins live at the North and South Pole. One of them live at the North Pole, one of them live at the South Pole. So, do polar bears live in Antarctica, which is the South Pole? I can't recall which one is right, but I think I'm going to say true. I think polar bears live at the South Pole and penguins live at the North Pole. Question 13. You can see Jupiter from Earth without a telescope. Well, my instinct on this one says that it is false. But again, I'm not entirely sure at all. Jupiter is quite far out. We have absolutely massive. But I find it hard to believe that you could see Jupiter from Earth without a telescope. So I'm going to say false. Question 14. We have less than 1% of the world's population is Jewish. Well, that's kind of a tricky one again. A lot of these are very tricky. Less than 1% of the world's population is Jewish. I think there'd be more than 1%. Because if there are a lot of Jewish countries in the Middle East, I think. And then you have Jews that live in America as well. Although, thinking about it now, I'm not sure there are that many Jews in the world's population. So I think I'm going to say true to that. I originally thought it was false, but I've changed my mind. Which could be the complete wrong thing to do. I think you have to go with your instinct in this sort of game, but we'll see what the results are. Question 15. Jericho is located in Egypt. True or false? Jericho. My initial instinct to that is Jericho is in Israel. I could be completely wrong, but I think Israel is where places like Jerusalem are, and sort of biblical type places. So I think I'm going to say false to that. I think Jericho might be in Israel, but again, I could be absolutely wrong. Question 16, and I made a mistake in saying that we had 20 questions. We actually have 18 questions. So my initial target was 10, so I'm going to change that. And I'm going to change it to, let's go for 9, because 9 is half of 18. So our target now is 9 correct answers. So number 16, Tahiti is an independent country. True or false? Well, I think Tahiti is an independent nation, independent country. I think Tahiti is located in the South Pacific, along with the likes of Fiji and the Cook Islands and places of that. But I'm not sure if a lot of them are sort of joined together. But I'm going to say true, because true is what my instinct is telling me. The island nation of Tahiti. So we move on to number 17. And this is an easy one. Parrots can live longer than dogs. And I know for sure 100% that is true, because parrots live to quite an old age. I do believe there are some species that can live up to 80, 90, 100 years of age, and dogs only live between sort of 12 and 15 on average. Of course, some do get beyond that. I had a dog who lived until she was 16, and I've also had cats who have lived to 17 and 18, but yes, definitely parrots can live longer than dogs, that is true. And finally we have number 18. In his younger years, William Shakespeare was a pirate. So William Shakespeare, we know, was an author. And I find it hard to believe that he was a pirate when he was younger. I don't think that sounds right at all, and I've never heard of William Shakespeare being a pirate, so I'm going to say false for that one. So that is all of our questions complete. We can just have a quick check back through them to make sure that we have completed every answer. And this is the untimed version. When I began this quiz at the start, it was actually timing you. You actually had 4 minutes, I believe it was. But but I set it to on time so that we could move through the questions at a leisurely pace. This being an ASMR video. Okay, so now let's press the finish quiz button. And again, let's remind ourselves of our target, which is 9. So I want to get 9 answers right. So let's see how many I get right. And I scored 12 out of 18, so I'm quite happy with that. That is way beyond our target of 9. So I got 67% overall. This beats or equals 25.5% of test takers. The average score is 14 and my score is 12. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that overall. Let's have a run through of the answers. Chimpanzees have tails. False. 80% of users answered this correctly. This is fun. I like the way that this gives you a stat at the bottom. And number 2, the movie The Wizard of Oz is based on a book. That is true. 86% of users answered this correctly. Number 3, the word bacteria is plural. True. And there we go, I did actually get that right to my surprise. The singular is bacterium. So I'm very happy that I actually knew that. 83% of users answered this correctly. Canada is the world's largest country by area. False. Russia is larger. 89% of users answered this correctly. So here we have our first wrong answer. Number 5, Margaret Thatcher was leader of the Labour Party. It was actually false. I can't quite recall if I had false originally and I switched it. But we got that one wrong. I said true. She was the leader of the Conservative Party. So I actually did list the Conservative Party, but again I didn't know which side she represented. 71% of users answered this correctly. Number 6. There are more trees than people on Earth, and I sat over this one for quite a while, I recall. And I decided to go for true, and it was true. There are approximately 400 trees for every person. Wow, that is amazing. 400 for every single person, that's amazing. 87% of users answered this correctly. Number 7, the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris has flying buttresses. I said true. 65% of users answered this correctly. And I still have no idea what a flying buttress is. But I got the answer right. That is all that matters. Number 8. Vampire bats are real. I said true, and it was true. Vampire bats are native to the Americas and feed on blood. 92% of users answered this correctly. The speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per hour. I said true. And I think I went back and forth on this one a little bit. It is false. It is about 300,000 kilometers per second. Oh, I should have recognized that. I realized the mistake now. Kilometers per hour. It's per second. 54% of users answered this correctly. So this is one of the questions that a lower amount of people actually got right. Lambda is a Greek letter. It is actually true. So I said false. So this is the sort of point of the quiz that things started to go wrong for me. I started to get a number of questions wrong in this part of the quiz. Lobster is kosher. I said false, and that was correct. 62% of users answered this correctly. There are polar bears living in Antarctica. So this was another one I got wrong. I got them mixed up. Polar bears live at the North Pole, it looks like. Penguins live at the South Pole. I always get that mixed up. 77% of users answered this correctly. And this one surprises me. You can see Jupiter from Earth without a telescope. The answer is true. In fact, Jupiter is brighter than every star in the night sky. Okay, I wasn't really thinking about it in that sort of respect. Like, you could see it as a large sort of bit of brightness in the sky. I was thinking of it more along the lines of seeing the planet. But yeah, that was one we got wrong. 76% of users answered this correctly. Number 14, less than 1% of the world's population is Jewish. I said true, and that is correct. Only an estimated 0.2% of people are Jewish. 65% of users answered this correctly. Number 15, Jericho is located in Egypt. I said false, and it was false, but I actually thought it was in Israel, and it is located in Palestine. But at least I still got the answer right. False. I felt as though Jericho wasn't in Egypt, so at least I got that one right. Tahiti is an independent country. The answer is actually false. I said true. Tahiti is part of French Polynesia. 77% of users answered this correctly. And 2 more questions to go. Parrots can live longer than dogs. We knew this one was correct. That's a very easy one. The answer was true. The oldest parrot on record lived to 82. Well, I actually thought it was a bit older than that they lived to. I said 80, 90 or 100. So we got that slightly out, but we still got the answer right. The oldest dog lived to 29. Wow, that's quite a feat there. And question 18. In his younger years, William Shakespeare was a pirate. I said false, and the answer was false. 84% of users answered this correctly. So yeah, guys, I'm overall quite pleased with the result of that quiz. 12 out of 18, 67%. Quite pleased with that in general. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you hit the like button, and if you would subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell. Then you won't miss out on any of my videos when they go live on the channel. But thank you for joining me for this true or false quiz, and until next time, rest easy, sleep well, and I hope to see you again very soon for another video, and goodbye for now.